Hey folks, so last episode we had started working on the logic to actually add the skeletal mesh to our character. And we'd ended things off where I was having some trouble sorting that out. And that was actually just down to the fact that I had used the wrong data type for our hat. They needed to be a class reference because it's not a physical object, we're just referencing the data. And that's what I'd screwed up. I also screwed up this flip-flop. I hadn't actually correctly caused it to toggle back and forth. So after I ended the recording, I just quickly fixed this just to make sure I hadn't screwed something up. But I did find some other problems that we're going to address this episode. But just quickly, you can see in here, when we press 4, we're going to bounce back and forth between hat 1 and 2. We have them set up as class references. We're getting the class defaults, and I'm just exposing the pin for the character mesh because we don't need any of the other stuff. And then in here, we're just passing it through and we're setting that. So just quickly compile and save this. I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to hit play, follow camera, and we're going to hit activate. And then when I hit 4, you can see we're switching between those two. So it's correctly pulling that information out of our class reference. Now, this is where I ran into the actual issue with how this is set up. Because this was just to test setting the skeletal mesh. We're not calling that function we made. What we want to do is equip item. But, well, now we have this issue. We're looking for an object reference. Well, that doesn't work because it's not what we want. And we want to actually pass this in so that it can do the correct logic, which isn't going to work here. So I'm actually going to delete that so the blueprint doesn't have issues with compiling once we're done with this change. But let's close out of this, and we're going to close out of the editor. And it's actually right here. We're passing in a pointer to a equipable item. What we want to do is pass in T subclass of equipable item. And I'm going to go grab that actually from here. Because it's not equipable item, that's the enum, it's equipable item. I don't need class there. And that should fix that. So we're going to just grab that. And the reason why we don't need class there is we added it up right at the top of the file because we've referenced this quite a few times. You've got that. So that's just a weird IntelliSense error. So if we head back to our character and we just switch this out here. Well, now we have some other errors. The reason being is this is a subclass of. So what we need to do here, going to get default object, get slot type. And we can address this just by copying that and throwing that in there. Now, we never actually finished this off looking at it. And what are you complaining about? Declaration is incomplete with bool, break. Line 120. What do you mean? Incompatible with bool. Oh, maybe this has to be a void. Let's change that to a void and see if that fixes that. Sorry. I actually realized in my rush to finish last episode and try and actually make some movement, I missed a lot of code in here. We're not actually calling any of these functions that we added in. So what we want to do is call those functions. So set backpack item. Well, now we run into this issue where, well, it's a subclass. Oh, that's why. I can leave that as a bool. What definition? Okay, you're good. Equip item T subclass of item. What is that not liking? Okay, we're going to rewrite this quickly and just go like this. Go over back to our header file and create the definition. Because obviously there's something weird in there it didn't like. So we're going to quickly rewrite this. So I'm going to fast forward through this so you guys don't have to watch me doing this again. Okay, so maybe not. I'm not going to fast forward this. I've screwed something up royally here. Item. Static class. No. Let's... It's right there. What have I screwed up? Okay, let's try as a cast. Okay, so that's working. So let's try this. Switch e item get slot type case e equipment slot. We're just going to go with head because that's what we're working with in the editor. Break. Excuse me. And I'm going to put a default in there. Break. And so this is going to be set head item e item. Okay, let's see if this actually works this time. Because yeah, the T subclass of equipable. That get default should have worked there though. Like, oh no, that might be why. No. No, that's not it. Okay, so while that built, let's just save that and launch. Probably going to try and build again. And I did make this a blueprint callable function, right? Yep, blueprint callable. So yeah, well, while this builds, I want to cover this. Like, this is, again, some of the things that can happen while you're programming in general, not just a game. I'm speaking with my experience from like your everyday programming, not for video games, that you're going to think something works in a particular way. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right. But every now and again, your brain is, well, potentially, brain's going to misremember something or crosswire a couple of different things, and it's going to cause weird situations like this, where things aren't going to work the way you want them to. So, okay, so we're in the editor. We're back in our third-person blueprint. When it decides to respond, there we go. Nope, it's still laggy. There we go. Okay, equip. Equip item. Now, is that going to work? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pass in hat1. And we're going to put that up here, move that into true. I'm going to duplicate this, and move that here, and pass in hat2. Okay, compile. Any errors? Nope, that's working. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to launch play in editor. This is still that issue you can see right here. This is regarding the bite trigger on the deer. So I'll address that in another episode. But okay, so we've got that. We're going to go to type in care, third person, go down to our follow camera, active in the search bar, and just hit auto active. We're going to hit 4, and that should trigger that breakpoint. So, okay, so I'm going to have to pass those in as 2 separate variables. Okay. So I was trying, this is like with that perception config, I was trying to get fancy. I was trying to pass in just the equipment item. Like the equipable item, and let all of that logic there. Obviously that's not working. So instead of bashing my head against this and trying to get it to work, very easy way to fix that. We're going to pass in your e-equipment slot and the item, the skeletal mesh. So going to clear that out. So it's this is an enum actually. So enum e, where is it? I'm just going to copy it from here. We'll call that slot. And then it is a use skeletal mesh pointer and mesh. So with that, obviously we need to change up all of our other functions as well, because you can see here we're passing in e-equipable item base. So item mesh. So you can't use the term mesh because it overrides. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to grab this here because we're going to have to fix these in all of these functions. So and this is where, like I said, sometimes, and I mentioned this in the When Code Goes Wrong episode a few days ago, sometimes you make a mistake that you don't realize right away because everything works at the time, like it compiled, but now that I've actually got to this, it doesn't need, but it's not working. So we're going to have to change things up a bit there. So now we've got that. I'm going to copy this over. I'm going to go back to our source file, switch this out. We don't need the enum there because we're not forewarning the compiler. I'm going to grab item mesh, get rid of this, switch, and this will just be on slot. And we'll just pass in item mesh here, but then we have all of these functions. So we just grab these, go grab that from there because it's the same thing. And the way I had originally done this may have worked with a little bit more digging. Now, as I mentioned again in the Sometimes, oh, when code goes wrong, sorry, episode. When you're trying to do what is effectively at this stage, I'm trying to do rapid prototyping. You don't want to spend a huge amount of time initially getting it all set up and getting it working. So you want to have things working in as quick a way as possible. So that's things like, okay, this may not be the most efficient way or the best way to handle all of this. It makes the functions a little more complicated, but ultimately what I've done here is I realized there was a problem. What I had done wasn't working. How do I go about fixing it? So, and what I've done there is instead of having the equip item function take the whole item, which really it should be able to, obviously it's something I'm going to dig into off camera because that's something that I'm going to try to address during a refactoring pass much later on in development, but I'm going to want to look into it and I'll probably add some comments here. Yeah, it failed because of that. So we need to. I dislike that, but oh, we don't actually have that in here. That's why. So include. I didn't add that in the character class, did I? Why did I have that switch work then? Oh, it's coming through from what? Okay, so I'm gonna have to put that in the header. So include data type and just get rid of you. Why are you saying I don't have a definition? Because it's right there. Okay, let's try this build again. But yeah, like I was saying, I made a mistake, obviously. I was trying to refactor and refine the process too early. It wasn't, I hadn't even made sure it worked before I got there. And I was like, okay, we'll pass in this class reference, we'll get the information, we'll pass that along. Well, something was off there. Obviously, I do need to think about how to refactor that, and I will address that, as I just said, later in the episode. So, while the editor launched, I'm going to pause things because actually I also want to go grab a drink quick. So, I will be back momentarily. Alright, so we're back in the editor here, and we'll see if that change I made actually fixes this issue. So, equip item, obviously it's broken because we changed the function, but what we're going to do is just go equip item. And this is where our class defaults come in. So we're going to grab slot type and mesh. I'm hoping this works because otherwise the last two episodes have been for naught. I'm pretty confident this should work. Connect those up, make sure they're set. They're set, so we're compile and save. So we'll try this again. Yes, I need to fix that. So, third person character, follow camera, activate, auto activate. Okay, 4. There we go. So now you can see, like I said, with simplifying the process there and getting rid of that overcomplication I put in, that actually goes back to my description of using the KISS method. It has fixed that for us, so now we can switch back and forth. So that's giving us that logic that we're going to need to actually expand on things. My animation blueprint's broken because I haven't fixed it for this mesh yet. But that gives us the logic we need and the fix to get things ready for actually adding in like a character equipment slot. Now, one thing that's going to be involved there is we're going to need to make some changes to the UI. And then we're also going to need to create some world objects for these as well, so we can actually put them in our inventory. What I'm going to do first, though, just because that is frustrating me, we're actually going to fix that animation blueprint for this guy, because right now we're just using a static idle mesh on him, and I don't like that. So where is our mega post-apocalyptic characters? Do I have my retarget atoms in here? Yes. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go into our project file. Actually, no, I'm going to do it here. Actually, does it have an anim blueprint that comes with it? Animation blueprint, anim BP, anim BP. Am I blind? I think I'm being blind. Animation blueprint, there it is. No, it doesn't. Okay. Just comes with some animations. Because if I select animation sequence, actually, it doesn't come with anything. Okay. So actually, I'm going to do it in here. Anim blueprint. Let's go to third party, third person. That's because I've still got the animation filter in there. Wow, that's being slow. Okay, turn that off. Animation blueprint. And we're going to just create a copy of Manny. There it is. So click and drag into the retarget anims. Copy here. ABP mega post character NPC. I was going to call it that. Find target animations. Assign skeleton. They all use the same skeleton, so I'm not too worried about that. But what are the names? That one there, I think. So accept that. Yep. So this anim BP should work and not mess things up once we get the animations sorted. So we're going to go to the anim graph. Warning, not 4 and 5 not found. Okay, so that's easy enough. We'll just bring that up there. I think this is still using a UE4 mannequin. Compile that. What's this other warning? Okay, so this isn't going to work easily, so I'm just going to recreate this very quickly. So delete that. Animation blueprint. Yeah, that won't work. Actually, no, it was body cloth 1. ABP mega post-apocalyptic character. Going to save. And then the other thing, get rid of that actually. And we need to end it in a blend space. Blend space. And that is for the same one. ABS walk idle. Now this, as I've mentioned in the past, I'm not great with animation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fast forward through pretty much most of this because all I'm doing is recreating a very basic anim blueprint that you would find in pretty much any animation. So, and apparently those anims aren't crap. Okay, so let me find the skeleton for these. So find skeleton. Head 01. Okay. So gotta delete these. Okay, well, either way, I'm going to fast forward through things here, and I'm going to create an animation blueprint and the blend space for these. So I will be back once I get that done. Alright, so I've gone through and I've got the Anim BP set up, and just really basic, there's no jump or anything yet. I still need to get that, but I've got the basics in now, so we're gonna just compile and save that, do a quick test run. Alright, look at that, and oh, no, something is not working. We are not, oh, he's attacking me and I'm taking damage. Nice. Okay, so what didn't work there? Where's our error message? Oh, I know exactly what it is. I forgot to connect the speed into the animation blueprint in the anim graph in our state machine. Idle walk, and that is ground speed. Okay, we'll give this one more quick try just to make sure. And once this is working, this is actually where I'm going to end the episode, just because we are pushing the... Okay, I got to change that because the walk speed, that's not the right one. It looks like he's walking in place. But so we are getting some movement there. Let's go to fix that. Oh, I've got walk in place, not walk forward. Put you at 125 and 0 because we don't want anything. How do we get rid of an axis? Axis for triangulation, axis to scale animation, horizontal, vertical. Yeah, there's got to be a way to set that so it only shows the one. But okay, we'll give this one last try. Okay, so obviously our animation is not in a position, like the speeds need to be tweaked because you can see his feet are like moonwalking almost, the way he's moving around there. So do need to make some tweaks there. I'm going to run over here. The run is fine, but okay, the wolf's attacking, and we as a character are still taking damage as well. So technically right now we're dead. But anyways, folks, so this is, as I said, where I'm going to end this episode off. Going to... Between episodes, I'm going to tweak that animation blueprint a bit. It is just, I'll quickly show a very basic animation blueprint. I copied over everything from the Mani because it does exactly what we need. We've got the actual anim graph here where I copied over the lean information. Hook that all in, and then we got our default state, and this is where we'll put all our idle to jump and things like that. And this is actually how I know to do animations, is through this default stuff. The Mani setup is a little more complicated, and I haven't quite figured that out yet. So oh, right there, expose pane. There we go. So with that, though, folks, as I said, this is where I'm going to end off the episode. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you have any larger questions or anything, please feel free to hop over onto the Discord. I try to respond to both as often as I can. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.